1976, Carrie. This is the first Stephen King adaptation. Came out 2 years after the book came out, which was 1974. It's one of his shorter novels, honestly. They got Brian De Palma.
Oh, man. Okay.
He made Scarface. He made Mission Impossible.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one. Untouchables.
That's Al Capone, right?
Yeah. He's also made Sisters, which is underrated. And he's also kind of like a Hitchcockian guy. He makes a lot of thrillers. Dressed to Kill. It's another like Psycho clone, but it's really good, apparently. I haven't seen it.
My parents both were like the perfect age. They were both teenagers. My dad was like I think he was 20 when this came out. They would always have it on.
Carrie, played by Sissy Spacek, Oscar-nominated performance, which is rare for a horror movie. I really like it.
I felt so bad for her.
And you really feel bad for this.
Even with the end, with the ending, like obviously, like this movie is just known for the one prom scene. But this movie has so many just like little moments that just add up. In general, every main character's performance is amazing. Yeah. There are some side, like John Travolta's side. Yeah. Dude, I don't know what the fuck John Travolta was doing in 1976. The blowjob scene.
It's up there with most bizarre blowjob scenes with Ghostbusters.
You know, like why put that in there?
Only in a 1970s movie, though.
We know she hates Carrie White. She doesn't have to say it while she's got John Travolta's cock in her mouth.
That's to convince him to do it. You know, he's always thinking with his dick. He's kind of a bimbo, you know? He's drinking. Dude, he had a road soda.
He had a road soda.
And she's just fine with it. Like, it's all right.
Dude, she gets slapped like 3 times and she's totally fine with it. Don't talk to me like that again, babe. What a fucking... Both of them are
completely
psychopaths.
Different from Danny Zuko.
Look, I'm not going to lie. In the beginning of the movie, look, Carrie... She doesn't look great. She looked really weird.
Well, you know what they did? Sissy Spacek is like... She didn't take a bath. She didn't wash up in between days.
That makes sense. But then, like, you know, by the time that she gets to the prom, like, not only is she, like, you know, she's looking beautiful, but also, too, she's a lot more confident. Yeah. And you know, that's all just because of, like, you know, Tommy took her out.
He's so sincere. I bought into, like, him actually, like, liking Carrie and stuff like that. And they have good chemistry. He auditioned for Luke Skywalker. George Lucas and De Palma were auditioning for Star Wars and Carrie at the same time. Oh, I wanted to bring up the Totally Girl from Halloween is in this. Mm-hmm. He looks like Mario.
She does look like Mario. Who the fuck wears a hat to prom?
This is a boom mic. It was invented in Hollywood in the late 1920s by pioneering Paramount picture director Dorothy Arzner on the set of one of the studio's first talking pictures, The Wild Party, which starred one of the biggest actresses of the time, Clara Bow.
Is that where you wish me?
I said left.
Oh, you mean you're a left.
Who got famous from her energetic, flapper-style performances, which proved difficult to translate to sound given the limited technology in stationary microphones. So what did Arzner do? She took the microphone, attached it to a fishing rod.
Just a working gal. Say, if you want exercise, try your muscles on this.
When you hear this piece of music, what do you think of? What movie comes to mind? That's right. The Screaming Skull! Yours truly stars in this 1950 low-budget horror film, alongside John Hudson and Peggy Webber, who still roams with you surface dwellers as of this recording. The plot, based on the Francis Crawford horror story, is a grab bag of horror cliches carelessly stitched together into what I guess you can call a feature-length movie. Abandoned house? Check. Creepy garden keeper? Check. Priest-eyed character? Check. A scary vintage painting of a dead relative? Check. Dead parents' backstory? Check. Dead wife backstory? Check. Candlelight. Courtyard. Coffins. Check, check, check. Pictures like this were a dime a dozen back in the day, typically playing alongside other low-budget sci-fi horror films in double features. So after all these years, what makes The Screaming Skull stand out? Well, for one, the film somehow sets up a decent dingy dark atmosphere. I actually recommend the shitty pan and scan version on the VHS. The less you make out, the scarier. Put that on the box. I guess having a primary root of fear in your horror film be a simple Halloween decoration is pretty amusing in a shitty B-movie type way. Its legacy lives on being the butt of jokes in shows like Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, great, she's playing her Yoko Ono albums.
And internet horror series Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
Help! It's the Screaming Skull!
You can find it pretty much anywhere, as it's in the public domain. It being public domain, naturally it was a staple in DVD box sets. Most definitely another reason why it's still remembered today. But should it though? I would only recommend this to the most hardcore horror B-movie fans. And even then, you just might be bored to death. Fortunately for you, the movie claims that it will provide coffins free of charge. Just a drag of a picture. Couldn't even keep my attention for 68 minutes, and I'm in the fucking thing. I was completely underutilized, if you ask me. Should have sold that Mercedes-Benz and put some money in the actual thing.
So behind me, directly behind me, there is The Shining sitting right behind me.
Okay.
The book is terrifying, and I also have Salem's Lot, but I haven't started Salem's Lot, although I know that's one of his like better books. Obviously, it is like his shining achievement. Haven't begun to read it because it's a big ass book.
His books tend to be big, right?
The Shining book, even though there's like profound differences between that and Stanley Kubrick's movie, I really, really enjoy the book almost just as much as I've enjoyed the movie for all my life. Here's the thing. No matter what other horror movie you bring up, I love watching horror movies, and I especially love ones like Hereditary where they deeply unsettle me. There is no movie that has disturbed me as much as The Shining, and it's not for the reasons that people normally say. This movie, and the book is really good with this. Dude, the most disturbing part of this movie, it's the family dynamic. From the very beginning, you know something is off.
Yeah.
You could feel it. Shelley Duvall, you know she's fucked up. You know that she's either being beaten or mentally fucking scarred. The child psychiatrist or doctor comes in and sees Danny, and she could already tell that something's up. Wendy is withholding information, and you can tell that her and Danny are still not over it. Stanley Kubrick, he put a lot of faith in the audience to try and figure it out themselves. It takes place on, trope Indian burial ground. I'm not even kidding when I say this, but like I'm really into Native American history. This movie, and also too, shout out to Six Flags Great Adventure, the big teepee. This movie it made me interested in learning about Native Americans. And it's not a big part of the movie, and you can just see it in like all the architecture and stuff, and it's just like, ooh, like it's just really cool. And it talks about how presidents have stayed there, and it talks about the history of the hotel and the people that are in it. The hotel is a character, because a lot of this movie, if you notice, a lot of this movie is just either it's silent or it's very atmospheric sounds, right? The trike going onto the hardwood and the carpet, but also too, the tennis ball. Jack throwing the tennis ball, at the very end, he just launches it down the hallway and it echoes, and you just realize, you're like, oh my god, like they're in a massive hotel and there's no one. I don't think this movie shows when he turns. I think he already turned. Just when he's alone, also too, because Doctor Strange, Jack himself could access the Shining, he just repressed it. Because remember, the Shining, everyone
what are you talking about, Doctor Strange?
Remember at the end of Doctor Strange when Jack comes back, as he comes back.
Doctor Sleep? You've been saying Doctor Strange this whole time.
My bad for saying Doctor Strange. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. So Doctor Sleep, Jack comes back in the end, and they couldn't get Jack Nicholson to do it, understandably so. But you realize that people choose to repress the Shining, the actual ability. Some people can tap into it, some people can't, but a lot of people repress it.
Oh, you think he had the Shining?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, we didn't even mention Dick Halloran's apartment. You can just tell, dude, that guy smokes some good ass weed in that room.